Good morning. I'd like to call to order our pre-commission work session meeting. We used to call that committee meeting. So I think I'm still going to. I'd like to begin this meeting as we do all with a word of prayer. And Dr. Frederick Hamilton, would you lead us in a word of prayer today, please?
Most gracious Father in heaven, we come this day thanking you for you being the only true and infinite sovereign God. We thank you, Lord God, for every blessing seen and unseen. We ask God that you bless this meeting, bless the commissioners.
This meeting is being recorded.
They have to make. Guide and lead us and walk with us and keep us, Lord God. In the name of Jesus, we do pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Doc. I would like to go ahead and begin with District 5. He has a presentation. He has some people outside that need to do that.
That's right. You're right. This is, good morning.
Good morning.
Right? It's good to be back, and the only one with antibodies in the room, I think. So that makes me special, right?
Well, I could have them.
You could.
I could have them.
I am.
We hadn't needed them yet.
That's true. That's true. I'm happy to be back and happy to be back in person with everybody. One of the items on the agenda today is for a brownfield abatement. This is for a student housing project, and it's for non-educational property taxes for 4 years with a capital investment of $55 million. Trey Hill is with us yet again. He's the deal maker these days, I guess. And happy, and hopefully he's got one more in his back pocket for a little bit later. But Trey, will you go over this a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Steve. Good morning, everybody. Once again, it's great to be back before the commission with what I view to be another exciting project for the county. So I am here this morning on behalf of my client, Next Chapter Properties, which is a Chicago-based developer and manager of student apartment communities near major universities such as UAB. And as much as the folks at Next Chapter wanted to be here in person due to COVID-related travel restrictions and an emergency travel order that the mayor of Chicago issued requiring a 14-day quarantine period from folks that come from states, including ours, they asked me to pass on their sincere regrets. So if you do have any questions that I'm unable to address today, I'll be sure to run it by the Next Chapter folks and get answers to those questions in advance of the Thursday commission meeting if this commission were so inclined to move it forward for a vote on Thursday. So Next Chapter has acquired a 0.96 acre parcel. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but this yellow box, you'll see the yellow box is the project site. This is 13th Street South, this is 14th Street South, and here's 5th Avenue South. The 0.96 acre parcel is on the western portion of the site. They also have an option to acquire a 0.33 acre parcel, so 1.29 acres all told. Basically, it's half a city block on the 5th Avenue South side. The 0.33 acre parcel that they have an option for, they got the option at the city of Birmingham's urging because there is a very dilapidated former pet spa here that's a real eyesore. You'll probably seen it because 14th Street South really is the main corridor between the burgeoning Parkside district here and UAB. And so the idea would be to replace the dilapidated buildings with aesthetically pleasing buildings. I have a couple of depictions for
This
you.
was also what I emailed everybody.
Okay.
All the elevations and conceptuals.
Okay, so, well, good. So this is a conceptual, as Commissioner Ammons mentioned. And you'll note that it's just a white kind of clean slate right now. They are going through the process of selecting windows and facades and building materials, and have been in extensive conversations with Stuart Perry. Merrill Stewart, as you may know, is my uncle. He is the Birmingham-based commercial developer and has been involved in a lot of the revitalization projects in the city of Birmingham. And he's told me that these guys have spent more time and attention to detail in selecting materials than anybody he's worked with. So they're really looking to build, not only a product that is very durable, but also will have great curb appeal. So specifically, what they're looking to do is to build a 7-story residential student housing complex. It would deliver 169 apartment units, and so can house 400 residents. It will have a host of related amenities: study room, bicycle parking, fitness centers, courtyards, a pool, rooftop terrace, and then a 2-story parking deck with 228 parking spaces, which would comprise the first 2 stories of the 7-story building. Importantly, on the corner right there, 14th Street and 5th Avenue South, where the dilapidated pet spa is, they have in their plans 4,500 square feet of retail commercial space, and they're currently contemplating a sort of grab-and-go restaurant that can serve both its tenants and the public at large. So total capital cost for the project are estimated to be $55,275,000. Construction is slated to hopefully start at the end of this year, beginning of 2021 possibly, and be ready for students to arrive for the 2022 UAB year. Important to note here is that there are significant environmental and mitigation costs that Next Chapter is going to have to incur to ready the site for the project, which Next Chapter estimates to be over $1.5 billion. Most of that cost, roughly $1.1 million of it, is to excavate, haul off, dispose, and get certified about 4 feet of contaminated soils. Across the site, they're also needing to install 15 to 25 foot concrete piers into the ground and expect to remove impacted soils related to that. And then ADM fees, accounting fees, and of course just a small legal fee make up their $1.5 million of costs. The large parcel, the one that they've actually purchased, the 0.96 acre one here on the western side of the site, was originally developed as a coal yard and then later used as a commercial printing facility for nearly 30 years. The smaller parcel actually had a gas station and auto repair facility on it from 1935 until 2000. Again, had a pet spa until 2018 and has been vacant since then. As I mentioned, the site will provide an important link. The plan is to have some landscaping and hardscaping along 14th and 5th that will provide a pedestrian-friendly link between Parkside and the UAB campus. Of course, both the city of Birmingham and UAB recognize the need and importance to develop that link. As far as the impact on the county, the dollars and cents, so to speak, it's expected to have about 100 construction workers on average throughout the 20-month construction duration. And then once the facility is placed in service, the expectation is for Next Chapter to employ 3 full-time, 5 part-time employees on site to manage it. And then that 4,500 square feet of retail space, the expectation is to have 3 full-time, about 28 part-time employees to staff them. And so we ran a cost-benefit analysis for the county, and we estimate that the county could expect to generate $2,950,000 of direct and indirect property tax, sales and use tax, and sewer and impact fee revenues over the project's first 10 years. The project's supported by the Mayor's Economic Development Office, the BBA, and Rev Birmingham. Additionally, Stuart Perry, that I mentioned, has been in conversations with Michael Bell at the BCIA about establishing a participation plan that I feel confident Michael will support. You may have read in the BBJ, there was an article published late last week discussing this project, and so I've made this presentation already to the Birmingham City Council Economic Development Committee and the Budget and Finance Committee, and I'm pleased to say that the 6 councilors have unanimously recommended it for approval by the City Council this morning in 13 minutes. So I appreciate you letting.
I move this project to the agenda.
Second.
I have a question, Mr. President,
It's great.
Go right ahead.
Chairman. But I finished the presentation because I heard that, they're moving it, but I have some questions.
All right, well, let me add something. I think one of the reasons that you didn't normally do student housing in the past, but the fact that it's a brownfield made it more important to take a unused parcel of property to be able to redo it and make it profitable for us as far as revenues down the road. You already gave the 10-year revenue of let's see, $2,950,000. And UAB is wanting to expand their student population significantly over the next couple of years, and this falls into part of that plan for them to have available, because they're running out of dorm space, so they've got to be able to do that. Do you have questions?
I do.
Go ahead.
So, and just for the record, you were here at our last committee meeting, am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I want you to be aware, which has nothing to do with you, but all for your understanding. This is the second project that I'm being made aware of at the meeting, okay?
Well, we would
But
have
hold on.
had this
If
conversation on
you ask
Thursday.
me, hold on, you allow me to speak.
Go ahead.
As vice chairman of that committee, the only thing I hear about is what's in my district, which has nothing to do with you but you. And I'm saying I didn't have any background information about this project, period, okay? Now, and I'm gonna keep saying that for the record because we have a resolution that you're eventually gonna have to adhere to, which is the fact I need to know what's going on. The second thing is this. You said that the city council, by a majority, did they vote on the item this morning?
The council meeting's in 10 minutes. It's on the consent agenda, so it has
But
not.
it don't matter if it's consent. I mean,
It could be
Commissioner
pulled.
Tyson and I came from there, they can always pull it.
That's
But,
right.
I mean, if you got the votes, you got the votes. But my question is this, what exactly is the city of Birmingham doing to support this project?
Right, that's a great question.
Mhm.
So I was going to wrap up my presentation with sort of.
Well, that's why I didn't want to cut you off, but when they were talking about moving and all that, you can finish.
Okay.
Just know that I have questions.
So what we're asking for is a brownfield property tax abatement. Okay? And we're asking the county to abate its non-educational property taxes for 4 years. The city of Birmingham to abate its non-educational property taxes for 3 years, and the state of Alabama to do so for 10. In addition, and while not related to the county or to the city council, because the Downtown Redevelopment Authority is an independent body, we're asking for a DRA, sales and use tax exemption on the purchase of construction materials during the construction period. And we're asking for half, so 1% of the county's 2% sales and use tax, half of the city's sales and use tax, so 2% of its 4%, and then all of the state's sales and use tax, which is 4%. So in effect, it reduces the overall sales and use tax from 10% down to 3%. And so what it means, just in dollars, when you combine the DRA savings and the brownfield savings, the city is foregoing $736,000. The county's foregoing $645,000, and the state is foregoing $639,000. And so, as I mentioned,
Hold on just a moment. 736 is city, county is 645, and 139, or 639 is what?
State.
All right.
Right, and so, as I mentioned, and Commissioner Ammons followed up, so the county is expected to generate $2,950,000 of tax and sewer impact fee revenue over 10 years. And so that's about 4.5 times what the county would be foregoing in the form of these two tax incentives. That coupled with the fact that we've got a $1.5 million required remediation cost, and that this is an important link again between UAB and Parkside. And we actually have a letter from Next Chapter Properties that they sent to Josh Carpenter, who you may know is Mayor Woodfin's Economic Development Director, basically saying that without these incentives, unfortunately, the project just cannot move forward. They can't attract adequate capital to fund the project. And so, for those reasons, I think the economic benefit, the importance to UAB, and the fact that the site, whoever develops it, is going to have $1.5 million of environmental cleanup costs. I personally think it's a good bet for the county.
So, are you finished? I don't
I am,
want
thank
to
you.
interrupt you. So I want to make sure that I heard you correctly. We got 736 for city, 645 for county. State is 139,000.
State is 639,000.
639, I'm sorry.
All of those numbers are in the email I sent you on Friday.
Okay. All right, so on this about the legal cost, I heard, was that $1.5 million that I heard?
I wish, no. So all in, it's $1.5 million. And that breakdown, Commissioner Scales, is
Sure.
as follows.
This is for the abatement.
For the brownfield.
Yeah,
Right, the cost that,
right.
yeah, they have to
Environmental.
incur to ready the site
Amazing.
because of the environmental problems. So there's about $1.2 million of actual, environmental excavation, haul off, and disposal of contaminated soils. Okay. They have incurred to date about $130,000 of demolition and building abatement. The ADEM fees are estimated at a little over $50,000. The engineering fees, so the civil engineer, is about $130,000, and the legal fees tied up with the engineering, environmental work are about $65,000.
So this is not a question for you. This is a finance question, Mr. Patelis. So if I heard correctly, that we basically, is this 645,000, sir, over a 10-year period or per year?
Okay, so the 645,000, 67,000 of it is during the construction period. That's the portion of sales.
I'm
and
saying
use
the
tax.
abate, right, so give
then
me
the-
that amount again?
67,000 during the construction period,
Uh-huh,
okay? and
which is
then,
how long is that?
About 20 months, should be
So you're
somewhere
saying less than 2 years?
less than 2 years.
All right, so if you multiply basically it times 2, I'm assuming that it's gonna put us right at about 100, close to 130 plus $1,000, is that right? Over a 2-year period of time?
No, the 67 is over the 2-year period.
Okay. So
And-
what I'm trying to get is the actual tax for the next 2 years that we would be abating for this project.
Okay? So for the next 2 years, it would be the 67,000 of sales and use tax.
Mhm.
Okay? And then the 4-year brownfield property tax abatement, that wouldn't kick in until 10/1 of 2023. Okay? So that's more than 2 years in the future. But at that point, then the 4-year abatement begins, and we anticipate, based on the $55 million capital investment, that would be about $145,000 each year. Okay? And so that gets you to the 578,000 of brownfield savings. So And again, these are all, obviously, future tax revenues that the county would not generate but for the development.
Okay, so, I mean, I get it more than you think I do. So here's my question, Ms. Patel. Considering the fact that and this is nothing like I'm against the project, and I don't care what project it is, but we're looking at post-COVID, and we're looking at about the refinancing of sewer bonds. That's why I was asking about these years, because I'm trying to see if we financially are in a position to do this for any project, knowing that we'll have loss in revenue this fiscal year. And who's to say for time to come, but definitely for this year. And in addition to that, 2023, you'll be getting ready to refinance the sewer bond. So my question would be financially, did you all look into this to see if we are in a position to do that?
I think when you look at the matter, just the impact fees, and then with the 169 units, it's going to add value to the ESD budget, because they'll be paying the impact fees up front, and that's going to be paid up front. As far as the tax abatement, it's a vacant piece of property, not doing anything for us right now. In the future, when the project's completed and after the 4-year period, then the sales tax will kick in.
Right, so the property tax will kick in at the end of the 4-year period. And the sewer impact fees, just given the number of installations, is $678,000. So it's actually more that the county will receive upfront during construction than we're asking the county to abate over a 4-year period.
So here's my last statement as it relates to this. I do want to go on the record as saying, and I'll say this again on Thursday, while I support UAB, I am becoming very concerned that that's the only institution of higher learning that we are choosing to do. You have Lawson State on the western section of Birmingham. You have Jefferson State that is on the eastern side of Birmingham. You have Birmingham Southern that is right there near Legion Field. I'm just trying to, it seems to me there's an overbalance in our support.
This is
Hold on, Commissioner. You don't have to agree. You don't have to agree. No, you don't have to clarify. Listen, I'm very articulate.
Go right ahead.
I don't need anybody to second anything I say. I'm saying to you, and I'm saying to us as a body, we have almost nulled and voided out every other institution in Jefferson County to support one institution. I am not against UAB. I am, however, for UAB. In addition to, we have some other institutions that are in need of our support as well. And they too pay taxes, whether we want to admit it or not. They too would like to expand their student population by way of having additional housing units. But you can't do that if you don't have the level of support that we've been doing. Now, I'm not crazy by far to say that the impact UAB has is not to be noted. What I am saying is that we also have to be aware that there are some other institutions that are seeking some sort of support, and we give them none. In fact, they've been zeroed out of the budget. And I'm just saying that I want to go on record as to say that. Now, I also want to go on record as saying this. I think we need to be preparing about this sewer issue. And all of these abatements that we're doing is going to come back at some point, because if you're not receiving taxes, it's hard for us to be able to pay what citizens need, and that's sewer. We're gonna have to get prepared for it, whether we like it or not. So that's why any project that comes before us in the future, I'm going to be asking about the sunrise and sunset of every tax abatement, because we've got to start preparing for this refinancing of these sewer debt, and that's more important than anything else that we can do moving forward.
Can I ask the board?
Yeah, what I'd like to do is, I'd like to clarify this just a second and I'll let you do that,
I
ma'am.
was gonna say what I was.
The sewer debt
I was just gonna say.
is an enterprise fund. It's solely funded by revenues from the sewer system. And it has no connection at all to this type of abatement or this type of project. They're entirely different. And the sewer system is great, doing in good shape, and it's very viable moving forward. And I think that the more our citizens understand that the users of the sewer are the payees of the indebtedness, as long as the capital expenses, the operation and maintenance, all of that is covered. And it's being covered very well right now. So if the macroeconomic environment remains the same, your sewer warrants will be refunded and in great shape, along with our general fund budget, which is still looking good, and knock on wood. So I'm tickled to death, and Commissioner Knight gave us a very good update, and I appreciate that too. But they are totally separate.
So, Mr. President, respectfully, let me tell you why I'm going to disagree with that, because in order for you to refinance, I was clear. I know what one versus the other is. What I'm saying is when you go to refinance any kind of debt, your financial stability in terms of your credit, it is going to matter. And we've got to make sure that we may be knocking on wood in 2020, but you better be trying to knock on wood when you get to 2023 and you've got to refinance these bonds, and we have more going out than we have coming in. So I'm clear. I understand that they're two separate, but one does impact the other. If in fact we have a decrease in revenue, and we know that the possibility of that is already evident because of COVID now, if we go into any kind of debt or whatever the case may be, you go to refinance these bonds. As I understand it, the reason why we receive the rate that we currently have is due to the fact that we had low credit rating. Well, just because you have a great credit rating today, that's based upon your ability to pay your bills. You don't have finances to be able to pay what you need to at that time. It will, in fact, impact our credit rating. That's the reason why I'm saying that, you know, it's not just this project, it's any project. We're going to have a forecast of what that looks like in the future so that our credit rating will not only remain the same, but hopefully get better, so that we will be in a better choice to be able to refinance these bonds and be able to set our own terms better than the ones we currently have.
And that's the reason why I referenced Commissioner Wright and the great work that he's done. It doesn't make any difference of your income as long as you balance your budget. We used to have a $300 million a year budget, and it went away. But then we had a $120 million budget, and we balanced it, and we moved forward, and we brought ourselves out of bankruptcy, and we have good credit now. So I have confidence in our management staff and our finance chair that this budget will be balanced based on the income, and that we will do fine, and that the sewer revenues will be more than adequate to refund our sewer warrants in 2023, and I'm gonna let it stop at that.
Good deal. Commissioner, did you have a question about this?
No, I wanted to make a statement, but everybody just looked over me.
Oh, was that the same thing?
I was going to bring up, I know that the sewer bonds are financed through the sewer revenue only. And I know that the county can't waiver the impact fee for the sewer connection. I know that. But I don't want the citizens that's looking at this meeting to think that they are not going to have an increase on their sewer, because that's the way it sounded. And I feel like I think like an ordinary person. And I don't want them to think that, because they will have a increase on their sewer bill. That's all I'm saying. So I understand what you were saying when you said that, well, that we in fine shape with the sewer fine. That make people think that they are not gonna get an increase. And I'm getting texted, oh, so we won't get no more increase. I don't want them to think that, because they are gonna get one. So that's all I wanted to say.
I think this is a good project. Our schools are gonna benefit from it. They'll still get the 1 cent sales tax, as well as the educational ad valorem that's out there. So the schools will have a benefit, and we'll have a benefit long term when, excuse me, when the abatement period is over. So yes, sir.
I have a couple questions. Back to the issue at hand. The parking, 2 stories with 200 something spaces?
228 spaces.
And you're anticipating 400 something students. If there's overflow, where would they park?
I think that the model has 228 parking spaces in the 2-story deck. There's also street level parking, but the real advantage here is that there's significant bicycle parking.
Right.
And so with these students that they're trying to recruit here and the proximity to UAB and Parkside, the expectation is that a lot of them will just be riding bikes.
Who owns that property now?
So Next Chapter owns the .96 acre parcel. The .33 acre parcel is owned by a family trust.
Okay. So it's really not generating a whole heck of a lot of anything right now.
Yeah, peanuts.
Does Next Chapter have anything to do with UAB other than this is associated in proximity?
No.
It's similar to the Navarre at
Yes.
Parkside. It's just an independent student housing.
Correct.
But this been in discussion for a while.
This has been in discussion for a while. And,
Yeah, 'cause
you know,
I
like
remember. Used to be a dog place, used to be a service station, then it was a little dog,
Pet Spa, right?
yeah, I
Um,
know exactly what you're talking
right.
about.
And it's just, right there on the main thoroughfare.
I know.
But they have to dig those tanks up when they close the station. They've probably already done that, haven't
They have not.
They haven't.
They have not put shovels in ground or removed tanks yet.
The little pump thing still there.
Oh, really?
Mr. Chairman, I do have this question. Do we have any other UAB projects that are coming up that we need to know about?
This isn't a UAB project, so I'm not aware of any
Okay,
other.
it's student housing for UAB, am I correct?
It's a student housing, but it is not limited to students.
Okay, so are you saying that anyone can lease
Yes,
to be here?
anyone.
Okay, so,
But it's geared towards students.
Correct. I mean, just because of the proximity to UAB. Their targeted demographic.
Same
is
thing as
students,
the
but
Navarre project that we had about a year ago.
I think you'll see.
same
more
what, as what project?
The Navarre, it's over on Parkside near the Denim Building.
Yeah, because everything is going downtown. I'm just trying to get an understanding as to, who are you all going to be, if I'm hearing you correctly? Is your target market that you're going to be advertising to mainly are students that would be attending
I think the
UAB?
target or expected market are, yes, UAB students and young professionals.
Okay.
That eliminates any of us.
Say it again?
That eliminates any of
No, I
us.
don't eliminate me, I'm under 50. So I'm just saying, I just wanted to make sure from you, are there any other projects that we need to know that are going to be coming around that area or UAB that we are not made aware of now?
No,
Because it
not right
seems
now.
like you and Mr. Carpenter, you all just doing the most, and I get it. But I do want to, again, stress the fact, we got other 2-year institutions here. And I still say it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we help them too. And we're doing a lot of partnerships with UAB, and I'm proud of that. But I want to be very clear that we're going to have to start sharing, because we are one county that has many parts. And if you starve out the other parts, eventually they will die. Matter of fact, Commissioner, if you remember, over a year ago, we went over to Jefferson State, and that college is trying to do a project. and it's student related. So I just want us to be equitable in what we do. And more importantly, I would appreciate very kindly if the resolution that we passed by economic development, that I don't hear of another project at the time when there's going to be a vote. I think that that's just like the chairman for finance. He knows what's what. You economic development. You know, I think everybody should deserve that courtesy if you are supposed to be a chairman or vice chairman of a committee. That's only fair and is right. All right, thank you.
All right, so I need to answer what you just said. So, did the county had nothing to do with placing this project on this piece of property, correct?
Correct.
Okay. As a lot of projects that you do as an economic development attorney, site selectors and other folks come in and select the properties where they want it's going to have the highest and best use. So we don't always select, and I would love to talk to Lawson or Miles or Jeff State if they have something that they want to do. I would absolutely, I think all of us would appreciate having a conversation. I've tried to talk to you, and I've tried to set up a meeting with you to give you a big overview of the projects that we have in line. You failed to respond.
So, Mr. Chairman,
I'm not done.
we're gonna stop that right now.
No, ma'am.
What you did was you
Ma'am, I have
called
the
me
floor.
and you spoken to me,
I'm gonna
and we were on a Zoom call yesterday for a project that was only related to my district. So what you're not gonna do is sit here and be dishonest.
Are you-
What you did was you reached out to me. You also told me that you called me, which you ignore most of my calls. And in addition to that, you were able to talk to me. Your staff gets immediate responses from me. There will be no commissioner that said if you email me, you will get a response. Public relations is what I do. So that means relating even to my colleagues. Let's be clear on that. So you don't have to tell that.
I have a
Matter of
motion
fact,
and a
when you
second.
mentioned about a
All in
Zoom
favor,
meeting
please say
on
aye.
yesterday, okay,
Any
you
opposed?
can pass whatever you want. But what you will not do
Ma'am?
is to say that you call me or you try to get in contact with me
Okay.
and you don't. That's how your staff got a Zoom meeting
right.
yesterday.
Do you have anything else?
Let's,
I
yeah, he's got
have
it.
one on
I move.
some
Board up.
fire district appointees for Rex Lake. Do I have a motion in a second?
I move.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And ma'am, I just don't appreciate being talked
I don't care
over.
what you appreciate or
And-
don't appreciate.
and here
What
you
you're not
go.
gonna do is sit in a meeting and lie.
Thanks,
That's what
Craig.
you're not gonna do.
I have the emails.
I don't
will
care.
provide
Okay.
the emails.
Okay.
Let's move
But
on,
I'm
guys.
I'm tired of you talking over
Yeah.
me
Okay.
and trying to lie about what I am
Okay.
doing and what I'm
No,
not
you're
doing.
not. And you know you're not.
Let's return to decorum, Commissioner Scales. Let's begin with you now. For
Public
environmental
Relations,
service.
Community Services, and Intergovernmental Relations Committee. We have one item for environmental services. Is that gonna be David Denner that's gonna speak to that item?
Yeah, he's here.
I'll move it.
I'll
Does anyone
second.
have any questions?
Yeah.
Okay, it's been moved and properly seconded. All those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye. Good job, Dave.
So I have one item for, can you pass it, please?
Yes.
And also to Commissioner Tyson. I have one item that is for informational purposes only, and Mr. Attorney Lawson, if you can have one as well, and Millie. The Birmingham Waterworks Board, which everyone was sent an email to that effect from one of the board members. Item number 7 was on their agenda for June 10th, which was approved, which was $1.25 million, which they were providing assistance, customer service assistance. Myself, along with 2 commissioners, went over and made this request. I wanted to make sure we had something in writing that proved that this request has now been honored by the board, and this is to provide sewer assistance. My question is, where are we on ours, being that that was the question that was brought to me by one of the board members, that we asked them about it, they've honored it, and so what is the status as it relates to where we are with our sewer assistance fund, and when we're going to make it available for the general public to be able to participate. So whoever can answer that question, if you don't mind to let me know, I'd certainly appreciate it.
Well,
This
from
was
what
already given.
from what I understand, the water board appropriated the funds as we did in the budget, but I don't think they've taken any other steps to actually do the program, and it's not sewer assistance. I think it's their side is a water assistance. Is that
No,
right?
but it's water, but they
Okay.
are in the process, just so that you know.
Okay.
They have, because they're already through United Way, my understanding. And so all they did was they took it back through their H2O foundation. And so that was why the question was posed to me. But nevertheless, we do have it in our budget.
Right.
And I'm asking, when are we respectfully going to make this available to citizens, especially considering that we in the midst of COVID, and though they're not turning off water, residents are still being billed for it, and they need help. So that's one of the reasons why I was making sure that my office publicized what JCCEO was doing, because we do have a lot of people that are in need right now, a lot of people who are unemployed, and for folk who are already on fixed income and didn't make anything better. So I just wanted to see where we were in terms of our stance of, are we ready to go ahead and move to look at a third-party agencies, last I knew we talked about, in terms of making these funds available to the public. Can anyone answer that question in terms of where we are?
We are
as a county?
still appropriated, and it is the document I prepared last week. If we do not get it, get everything in order this week, what we will do, or not this week, but this budget year, is that we will put this in the budget for next year to do.
Okay, are we gonna finally get it to the citizens, is my point? Get it to an agency where citizens can be able to get the help that they need
Yes.
on the sewer side, not the water, but the sewer.
I understand.
And it's really the sewer portion, as we all are aware, that's putting people in a financial distress. So that's my real question is, I know that the talk has been to move it over, but we passed it last year in August. We're a year at it now, and we still hadn't moved it where citizens can be able to have assistance.
And when did Waterworks Board move theirs?
They moved theirs June the 10th.
Okay, so that's
And-
almost 8 months or 10 months after we did.
Well, to be very honest with you, Mr. Chairman, when we asked them about it, they already had funds available in that particular account anyway. So, you know, they were servicing citizens. It's just the fact that the program by which they were going through, from my feedback, is that, you know, people were having problems accessing it, but now there's an intentional effort to make sure that it moves forward.
Okay.
Chairwoman, can I speak? It's a need now greater than it has ever been. On the 31st, the unemployment stopped. We have people over 20 million people now are on the eviction list. There are 6 months is up from for their rent, for their rent to be bypassed for 6 months. That's gone. Unemployment, the $600 gone. They only have a couple of more weeks of the $250 that they were receiving, gone. They have been laid off from their jobs because most of the people that need this assistance are service workers. Their jobs are gone. Businesses have closed up that have service jobs that are these people rely on, the citizens rely on, that's making up under $16,000 a year. It's gone. Housing Authority has more citizens that's off work and dependent on the system. Their system is dry, just about gone. So why not implement this now in the middle of a pandemic where it's needed the most? we need this. The citizens need it. And this is not a color boundary issue. I think this is an economic issue because it's people all over Jefferson County need this service. And it's just a sad situation. And I have gotten calls after calls after calls of people being evicted. You can call U-Haul. They're getting more calls for people to reserve the U-Haul truck because they get evicted. They need to move. So you're gonna find more people have to move, and a lot of them are gonna end up homeless. So I think paying a person water bill, if they can pay their rent, at least they will have water coming. You know, and all of the agencies are waiving people fees. But I think 6 months of waiving has ended. I know it has ended. So we got to do something. We've got to do something. And it's important in the middle of this pandemic where you got to wash your hands and keep your hands clean, that we do keep people water on.
So that is basically my ask of us as a commission, that what we have appropriated, that we identify what agencies that are already providing the service. The county law department has already advised us in terms of what needs to be done. I will say this in closing. You know, when you're out and all of us, or some of us, are giving out these produce boxes, you hear a lot of things from citizens that you don't hear sitting here on this second floor. And when I tell you that if people are thankful for a produce box, you got to know that when people don't have jobs and they don't have the ability to pay, and yes, I know that the Waterworks Board is not not disconnecting water. I will tell you this, one of the reasons why that same board member who sent this information to us back in June, the reason why that person wanted to know what were we going to now do is because they are becoming overwhelmed with people that they know who are saying that they got to have some help. These are working people now. This is not people who are just lazy and they're not trying to do better. They're just not in a position to do better. And you know, a produce box is great, and to be able to provide other things is great, but you're gonna have to have water. And that's not one of those things that's a luxury, that's a necessity. So, you know, I've been, you know, trying to quietly not keep talking about it, but you know, I have really talked to a lot of folk, and I'm telling us that whatever way possible that we can help, we need to try to do that. So that's my plea for today, that they passed it, and this board member wanted to know, in fact, it was 2 board members that asked me, well, what is the county gonna do now that we have done our part? What is the county gonna do?
What, they've done what we've done, so what are they gonna do?
No, they were already providing, what I'm trying to say, Commissioner.
All right.
They were already providing funds. But now what they've done is they've increased the amount of funding that they put into that particular program in order to meet the citizens' needs. Because they still have payroll too. So that's not to put nothing on you. Now, I'm just talking about that's a us. And so the last thing that I hope that we don't do is make this about Republican and Democrats, because if you on the sewer system, and we have a lot of people who are, I hope we don't draw this down a party line and try to shame folks just because of the fact that we have a program, we have funding to support programs that can actually meet the needs of everyday citizens. Everybody needs it. If they don't have it, I will just say this in closing. I mentioned this on yesterday to Commissioner Ammons and his staff when we were all on a Zoom call that was coordinated last week, since I don't respond. the bottom line is that there is a business owner that took his life. It's on Facebook right now. He's a local guy. He took his life because his business, he didn't see it surviving beyond this pandemic. But he had more expenses than he had income. And the bottom line is this, it's unfortunate that I don't think once we get into these four walls that we see the bigger picture. And there are people out here, they're pleading and asking for help. And as taxpayers collectively, they didn't commit whatever problem, the reason why folk are having to pay these high sewer bills. And the truth of the matter is the majority of your water bill is sewer. That's why it's so important for us to lead rather than for us to be led. The majority of your water bill is the sewer. So I'm asking us to look to bring this out of the budget and to place it with whatever agencies that we can agree to so that people can get help. It seems as though everybody who can try to provide help, including JCCEO, they're trying to do it. Why aren't we participating as well? That ends my report. Thank you all for accepting it.
Okay, thank you. To close out that, the CARES Act is providing $60 million in coronavirus relief for utilities. And it is distributed through ADECA in coordination with the Community Action Partnership, which is headquartered here in Birmingham. So there are funds available. And if you would apply through the Community Action Partnership, and they are distributed through ADECA. Commissioner?
So, hold on, Mr. President.
It's not enough.
So, Mr. President, let me say this.
And that might be a,
This is where I am, Mr.
It's
President.
not enough.
If we're gonna take that position, then I would rather for us to go ahead and reappropriate that money for something else if we're not gonna give it to the citizens. This is a shame at this point. That's what I'm really trying to say, is that respectfully, you're talking about other agencies who are getting funding, but even with JCCEO from the state of Alabama,
It's not.
they only received $4 million. And I'm saying to you, I'm saying to us as a body, Mr. President, that you passing out boxes too in your district, okay? People are hurting. They are hurting financially. No longer is it people on a fixed income or when people can then cloak it by saying that they're riding the system. You're talking about working folk, Mr. President, who have since lost their salary. They don't have it, Mr. President. And if we, as a continuous body, I wasn't a part of the body, certain other folks weren't a part of the body, who got the citizens into this debt. All I'm saying is I think it would only be fiduciary of the county. You're only talking about $1.25 million. The first incident, or my understanding, the problem here was, okay, we'll get the waterworks, get them to match it. Okay, they've matched it, and now what is the issue? So I'm just saying that if we're looking for other people to take care of our citizens, our residents, I'm trying to figure out why. When it was an act of this body at Jefferson County Commission that has placed these people in some of the debt that they're in, the reason why they can't afford to pay it. And Mr. President, you and I, respectfully, sir, talked about it in your office, and you supported it. And I'm just trying to figure out a year later, why is it that we're struggling to go ahead and get it out? We've moved everything else, but we haven't moved that. And this is something that doesn't benefit us. It benefits the residents. You in support of it. I don't see why, Mr. President, that we can't go ahead and move on it. The main question was Birmingham Waterworks Board, what is going to be their position, and for them to act. You had 3 commissioners when it made the ask, and now we brought home the bacon. All I'm asking for us is to go ahead and move our part as well, Mr. President. It's not going in our personal pockets.
And that money that he's talking about with DECA, that covers the whole state.
But
And
you have to apply for it.
I understand that.
And $60 million go a long,
And
long
I
way.
know it's, no, it don't. No, it don't, not for the whole state of Alabama. You know, we are the third poorest in the country? No, it don't. It really hurts my feeling for you to even say that to me. They need
I
more money.
apologize for that.
We need that money.
All right, we'll
The
look
bottom
into
line-
it further. Your points are taken, and I'll look into it further. And then
I just feel like it takes an act of Congress to get y'all to do something for poor people around here. And it really is.
well, that's
starting to
just
bother
not
me.
a true statement,
Well,
ma'am. I'm
that's all
just
I
sorry.
see.
Now, I'm not
I
gonna sit here and get the
Didn't want to give Cooper
This is
Green
bad.
nothing. I was here in tears
What?
the other week of trying to fund them, and they still didn't get all their money. I'm not. You know what?
Yeah, let's.
I left here with a migraine the other day, and I don't get headaches. The last time I had a headache, I got a divorce. I'm not finna, it's not even worth talking about no more.
All right, let's move on
Because
with the
y'all, I
agenda.
see now where you're coming from.
Okay,
I'm just
let's move
really-
on with the agenda and let's get at this.
All right.
It's I think it's yours. Ms.
Yes,
Tyson.
it is, Mr. Tyson.
Community Development and Human Resource Service Committee, Dr. Hamilton, please.
Good morning, just two quick items. This is for our EDA CARES Act revolving loan fund supplemental award in the amount of $1,265,000 to help businesses that are dealing with this COVID virus. We've been awarded this amount of funding, and that this is what this resolution is all about. The second one is just allows the commission president to sign all of the relevant documents for this supplemental.
Move the items.
Second.
Have a first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's the end of, that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Administrative and Infrastructure Committee, Roads and Transportation. Collier, you want me to do it? You want to do it?
Collier Engineering is going to help us revive our sign and pipe inventory. It's desperately needed. 2019 PSO2 Summit Pump Station upgrade. Commission a partial property to get that project done. The same for number 3, Jackson Heights property purchase disclosure. And then Timberleaf subdivision maintenance acceptance. One of the failed subdivisions we're moving forward with.
I move 1 through 4, but I do have a question.
Second.
Motion second. Go ahead.
All right, $1 million to counter inventory.
Yes, I mean, we got hundreds of thousands of signs, and not only do you
Oh,
have
that's right.
inventory, you gotta check the reflectivity of it, the height of it, the distance from the edge of the road, all of those standards have to be
Okay,
met.
that kind of stuff.
It's a huge.
Are they gonna find all our culverts?
And we'll have it, and then it's also gonna set us up to keep it up as we go. Our City Works program, as we do work orders, it'll automatically update the coordinate pictures and all that. So it'll be very beneficial for a long time to come.
Question.
Where is, oh,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Timberleaf? Where is that?
Oh, I'm not sure. Let me see if Heather's out there.
It says 3 roads. Is there more coming?
There's more subdivisions coming, yes, sir.
Oh, I'm talking about in this subdivision.
Where's Timberleaf?
It's, on
Is that all the roads in Timberleaf?
that's the 3 in Timberleaf. This was part of an agreement that, we had a developer that had finished a portion of it, and then there's one more road that was, needed to be picked up, so they have done that. That work has been accepted, and so this will pick that one up, and then we have several more, that are coming real shortly.
So I did have a question, Heather, while you're in here. I noticed that it said something about the maintenance of those 3 roads. Do we have a cost? Did you put that in the backup? Because I didn't see it. It says right here on Timberleaf subdivision, it said the county will accept maintenance of those 3 roads. You got a cost associated with it?
So that, once the road is properly constructed and we have everything, then we accept it in perpetuity. So it becomes a county road.
But this is not one of those distress things that we took over, is
So
it?
this was.
All right.
And what the deal with this one was, is that there was a phase 2 that a different developer had wanted to come in and do. And so what we had negotiated with them was that they had to finish effectively half all of the roads that they were affecting with part of that. So that reduces then what we have to pick up to rehabilitate the rest of the portion of the failed subdivision. They have done that. And then we just needed to accept it as part of that agreement.
So by us accepting it, we have to go in there and finish it, or have we already finished it?
We have to go in and finish the other road that they weren't affecting, but they, with this agreement, we cut down by about 60% what we would have had to do.
All the failed subdivisions commissioners that you instructed us to work on, Heather's doing a good job of negotiating with developers that want to develop any remaining lots to pick up and correct all the road problems for as much portion as we can. So this is
Yeah,
one
and
of
it's-
them that saved us a lot of money.
And it's exciting that people are wanting to build here again and fill out these subdivisions, because if you remember that there were years there that these lots sat vacant and they became in that disarray that you're talking about. And I guess our inability or lack of making sure that the surety remained on to make sure these roads were completed. Our cost on this, was there any surety on this? I don't have any recollection of that.
There's a small amount that's left. And it'll help to offset, but having this work done took a large chunk of it out. It was a little over half. So it's reduced what we would have had to address by about half.
Okay, right.
So how much did you say, Heather, that road maintenance is gonna be for Timberleaf? I'm just asking. Did you say an amount approximately?
Well, the maintenance cost generally is going to be resurfaced about once every 15 years, so resurfacing is about, what, 70,000 a mile
Ish, yeah.
over 15 years. So we won't have any, curb and gutter, the owners will be probably mowing the grass. We really won't have much day-to-day maintenance other than resurfacing the road 15 years.
And where's this subdivision located? Just excuse my ignorance.
It's out towards McCall.
We have a
McCall
number.
getting a lot these days.
We have a number of these all throughout the county that
Oh,
we've
Jim.
been working on. There was a fairly extensive list that we have shortened up quite a bit, so. And we have several more that we have gone through these agreements with the developers that we're fixing to accept.
Any other questions? We had a motion and a second. I'll wait on him to come back. Motion and a second.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, thank you. County Attorney.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Aside from my usual claims, I have two resolutions. One is an action of business, and the other is an employment policy. In 1982, Jefferson County entered into an employment consent decree dealing with the fair and equitable employment treatment of African American women. Until the commission's post-2013, after the court found us in contempt, these commissions and this commission has continued to move towards compliance with the consent decree and demonstrate that we are able to move forward with the processes and policies that we've had in place. We're able to do so without court supervision. We effectively transitioned from court receivership to monitorship, and we continue in those practices. What this resolution does is it demonstrates this commission's willingness to continue on with the process and procedures that we currently have that ensures non-discriminatory practices and just fair hiring practices for all. And that makes that possible. And ask for your support.
Okay, for 2 new items are gonna require unanimous consent.
It's on there.
Oh, only
It's on
one.
the new- That's not a new item. The new item, the item for new business is a resolution authorizing myself to negotiate with an attorney to represent the tax collector, J.T. Smallwood, and the assistant tax collector, Robert investment paid payment. This is the case that involves the distribution of excess bids in property. It's been a class action, I think, down in Shelby County. And they have requested outside counsel, I think, given the nature of it, we will represent the county treasurer. I think that it is prudent for us to hire outside counsel to represent those two.
Okay,
That's,
well, so we have a motion
I'll
to
move
consider.
items 1 through 13.
Okay,
Second.
Okay, we do have to have an item of,
Yeah.
And that's the
And then-
consent decree motion
so that's-
included
yeah,
in that.
unanimous consent.
that's, all right, wait, so we have a
No,
motion
that's
for
the
1 through
JT.
13.
Right.
1 through 13.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And I move for
Now-
unanimous consent of the resolution.
One item was
Second.
seconded.
That's this.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye, aye. Any opposed? That's the key. Okay, so, this item, one item on new business, take a resolution to accept that.
I'll move that item.
Move that item.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you, thank you.
Right.
I'll move the minutes.
Minutes have been moved.
I have a question on one of those claims, but I'll talk to you afterwards still.
Okay.
Second, or,
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Sheriff has no items. Mr. Tellis, County Manager, you got a lot.
Yeah, we have, that made it to the agenda, 11 items on the CARES Act. All of them have been reviewed by Whit O'Brien. The top 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, and 4, relate to the sheriff's office. It's outdoor booking station, which, $88,078.35. The sheriff's application for body scanners and commercial washer dryers, $374,234.59. And then the non-contact ID bracelets, which was $33,918.21. So those are the 4 items related to the sheriff. Whit O'Brien reviewed them all. There were some, and they signed off on all of them. The next one is the Rocky Ridge Fire District for supplies and equipment of $55,561.89. And the Fire Chief, John Lord's here, if y'all want to ask him any questions. You may go on, or y'all want to?
Good, just keep going.
Keep going on, okay, I'm on a roll, all right. The number 6 is the City of Vestega Hills, $4,000 for glass barriers in different parts of their city offices and library. Number 7, Mount Brook glass barriers, $4,562.85. For cleaning, sanitizing, telework expense consistent and some barriers also. Number 8 is request from Jefferson County Roads and Transportation to purchase trucks, $1,645,000. It'll be 47 vehicles, 20 at the Vesper Camp, 20 at the Ketona Camp, 17 in traffic engineering. This will help us, what we've been doing in the past, putting 4 people in the truck, and we're not social distancing. In order to get the work done, we've got to have the equipment to get out there. We ran this one by, and this is also eligible expense. This is for the Jefferson County Roads and Transportation. Number 9,
Is this purchasing or leasing?
purchasing.
Now, this is important, and I want everyone to listen. This, John Lord's out there on this also.
Yeah. This is a resolution which affects 20 fire departments in Jefferson County. These are the fire departments which are not attached to a city. Some of them are volunteers, some are not volunteer departments. There are 20 of them. And it's $1,824,914 for 32 mechanical CPR devices and 32 LifePak cardiac monitors. Will O'Brien was really impressed with this equipment. This is equipment, CPR. It's an automatic. You set it up on the person, and then they can. It does the CPR.
It does the chest compression.
Right.
Actual does.
Yes.
So you're not having to sit there, because when you're doing that, you wear out and you start sweating, and so it helps with the COVID spread, and it does it.
Right. And
It
also
allows that person administering, if it's a one-person thing, to do other things, to start an IV or get an airway or something like that.
Right.
Meanwhile, you're not losing that time on the compression, so it's an awesome thing.
And when we're talking to the cities, we're telling them that this is available, that they can
Right.
use it to purchase with their funds. And the more we buy, the cheaper it gets. And we're getting a really good price because we're buying so many of them.
And it's going to be many more than this 32. I think John has been talking to.
Yes, yeah.
To the different municipalities, which is covered under their monies.
Right.
But this is a wonderful use that will,
Do we have one to
Help.
demo?
I don't know if we got one. Let me see
We
if
can,
John-
we got Barnett, volunteers? Justin?
No.
Now, let's keep moving. This is good, let's keep moving. We're gonna have to order lunch.
You got anything else? No. All right. That was on the agenda was approved with the understanding that we're adding to it with municipalities. And the cost is going down by $7,000 or $8,000 the more we buy it over 40?
Over 51.
Over 51.
And
Okay.
we're right now with the cities involved and everything, we're probably at about 65 to 75.
Okay, so that shows you how valuable this is. This is gonna save lots.
Well, we're going from a $55,000 unit to a $30,000 unit.
Just because of all.
Just because
Because
of the
of
bulk
volume,
price.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's, number 10.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
Number 10, 911, not to exceed 106,000. Part of that was for payroll, when they had a COVID case of the employees having to work overtime, and also equipment and barricades. And then the 11th one is the nursing home initiative. Commissioner Scales, you asked me what happens when 25, they filled up in 2 weeks when we passed this several weeks ago. This is the nursing home where we have the COVID patients. Instead of sending them to the nursing home, we're sending them there. We have several hospitals, St. Vincent's, UAB, Grandview, who have sent patients there. After we passed this, within 2 weeks, they were already full. So this is another 25 beds at the same facility. It's and also this includes PPE supplies in there. So this is what we have.
What is how many patients do we have in that?
25.
I understand how many beds. How many patients do we have?
25.
Oh, okay. So we hadn't expanded yet.
No.
Okay.
They're working to get that done. yes.
Okay.
Okay, we'll entertain a motion.
Move.
Move.
I did have a question. I had a question, Mr. President. I want to support the items. My question is, have we had any libraries from any other part of the county that has applied, Mr. Patelis, for any kind of assistance?
Wait, Justin's here. He's been keeping the records.
Commissioner, we haven't had any individual libraries apply, but the Jefferson County Library Cooperative does have a request put in. I think that supports 40 some odd libraries. The request is for some digital collections and for a few other things to allow libraries to be able to utilize more efficiently during the pandemic.
So let me ask this question then. Do you mind, Mr. Patelis? I'm asking you, not telling. So I see here basically where it's about cleaning and sanitizing or sanitization of their facilities. Are we going to be seeing something that comes forward soon, I guess, from the co-op as it relates to the cleaning and sanitization of all of our public libraries across the county?
If they apply for it, it would be considered a review. We just don't have an application to that extent from any of the municipally owned libraries or from the cooperative as an umbrella organization.
Okay, Ms. Patelis, I'm hoping that we're getting out the information.
I do have one thing to add to that. There was a request from the Mountain Brook Library through the city of Mountain Brook, their allocation, that should be coming on your next agenda for some touchless doors from theirs, but
Yeah.
we don't have any other library items pending.
And I think some of the cities that have their own libraries are going to be working with their libraries. When we met with the Mayor's Association, we told them that their funding, they can use it for their
Right.
schools, for their libraries, or any other agency, government agency, within that city.
Yeah, I'm just saying, it just so happened, yesterday, coming on down First Avenue, I saw one of the libraries here locally, and the grass was overgrown, and so, obviously I see this, and I support all of Jefferson County. I just want to see if everyone knows that they can apply for this kind of assistance, so that, our libraries can be maintained as well. I mean, it's just that simple. So I don't want to, play one area of the county against the other. I just don't want all of our dollars to find themselves getting gone, and these other libraries haven't taken advantage of this opportunity.
When we met with the Mayor's Association, and we had mentioned libraries and schools, and then also the co-op. Justin's been going back and forth with the Jefferson County Co-op on some questions that they had.
Okay. All right, just as long as we're disseminating the information equitably. Okay.
Well, motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much. We have no other business that includes me, Commissioner Knight. You gonna wind us up?
Unusual demand report. Do I have any questions on 1, 2, 3, or 4? I'd ask for a motion.
I will move it.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or question? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Budget Management Office, 1, 2. 1 and 2.
I move it down.
You want to do 1? Do 1.
Yeah.
I have a motion for 1.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Budget agenda, position changes, revenue changes, public information officer increases revenues and expenditures to record a grant from the Community Foundation of Greater Birmingham for the census count in the amount of $5,000. And the other is information technology, shifts funds from probate capital and the coroner's capital to information technology general fund operating budget to assist in paying information technology contracts. Have we run that through probate, that they know they're getting money taken from their capital fund?
Yes.
Okay, they're good with
They
it?
have agreed to this information technology during the budget process. From my understanding, they didn't have enough to cover their contracts, and so there was some availability in some other departments after the amount reached out to those departments. So we'll be able to shift those to be able to pay the contracts for
Okay.
information technology.
All right. I get nervous when we start shifting from one department to another, especially if they don't know about it.
Yeah. When we talk about reporting, what we talked about, appropriate reporting, so when we see it coming, not such a big
All
deal.
right. All right, do I have a motion on 2B?
So moved.
Have a motion, second, and 2A, or A and B?
All or two?
Yeah, 2, let's do 2. Have a motion and a second, all in favor, please say aye. All right, developmental services, here we go. B 2000-009 is USA applicant, doing his Tannehill Grill and Country Cooking. Do I have a motion?
I'll move Kenny here.
I'll second that one myself. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, Z 2000-0013. This is gonna be, a firefight.
Yes, it is.
Ms. Burke? Mr. Morrison?
Sir.
Talk to us.
Yes, sir, the request for a condominium development.
Yes.
Originally, it was supposed to be 50 units originally. After going through P&Z and experienced a lot of opposition, he admitted the request to do 25 condominium units and then 10 garden home units. Because they kept arguing or the neighbors kept arguing that they wanted the garden home development in the neighborhood. Went through the second cycle of planning and zoning, and it was approved with the covenants that are mentioned in the reports themselves to limit the height as well as to,
I have a question. How do you build a condominium 2.5 stories only?
they got parking underneath.
Okay,
They got all the parking that's underneath the building. That's the way they're proposing it.
okay. So they had asked for a 3-story.
No, they'd asked for just the 2.5 story. They got the large, like kind of the tall pitched roofs on their design scheme. That's in your report.
Yeah, I thought it looks nice.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's taller, but where the building is actually sitting is at a higher elevation than, there's some other taller buildings over here. It's an assisted living facility. It's essentially multifamily that's age restricted, that's in Vestavia. And it's on the opposite side of a brush line, right in the same area, but it sits at a lower elevation. And so that's why P&Z was cautious about limiting the height of that, just so it's not towering over that residential neighborhood to the front, and then also to the west.
Okay.
The zoning on that is for the town village is institutional.
In Vestavia, I believe that's correct.
All right.
You think we've all got plenty of emails
Yeah,
about this? I got a link to the change.org. So far, there's 402 people have signed it. They're not against developing the property, as they said in all these emails, but they are,
Against the,
they are for single family.
yeah.
But not against, multifamily, and we just, so I have some other questions, but I'll save that for the public hearing.
And is, okay, yeah.
So we don't,
Yeah,
we can ask in the public hearing.
yeah, so get ready. Do I have a motion? To move it to the agenda?
Move to the agenda.
No motion to move it to the agenda. Then it fails to move to the agenda but we got a public hearing scheduled.
I'll move it to the agenda
I'll second.
All right.
for the.
Hope y'all be there protected in other
aspect.
instances.
Yeah, this is just
And
to
when
get
we
it
start
to,
getting a lot of emails.
this is to move it to the agenda for. All right, have a motion and a second to move it to the agenda. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, thanks. All right,
That's easier than I thought.
Z 2000-020.
Clinton, Alabama, and McCall.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Have a motion? Second. Any discussion or questions for Mr. Morrison on these two? All right, have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay. Al, you want to take this, or we got Ms. Brown here?
Charles here.
I can take it.
All right.
So TrueView is the employee background investigation contract, and they will extend
Such
the
a
term of
competitor.
service for the reporting. Ameriflex, and y'all should have previously emailed summary of each of these. Ameriflex is the contract to provide COBRA and flexible benefits. The Hampton Inn and Suites, Tutwiler Hotel, this is agreement to provide hotel accommodations and services for the Jefferson County Commission for official business. Behavioral Health Systems, provide mental health, substance use, managed care, and employee assistance program services for the county employees.
I have one question on item 3, okay? That's just not to exceed number, right?
Right. And number 5, Behavioral Health Systems, Safety First. This does our pre-employment screening for substance abuse services, pre-employment screening and substance abuse screening for the.
Are we allowed to know what level of testing is done?
Like hair?
No, I mean, I'm
Well,
sure
you-
they're all your analysis, but
Yeah.
if it's a 5-panel, 10-panel, 10-panel expanded opiates.
I have no idea what that is.
I think that
Are we
is-
allowed?
Caroline's on the line.
Caroline?
This is Carolyn. Can you
Yes.
guys hear me okay?
Yes. Thank you for joining.
Okay, I'll have to follow up on that one. That one actually, are you guys talking about number 5? I can't quite hear you.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'll have to follow up. That's actually a risk management item. So I'll follow up and get back with you all, but it falls under an HR contract. So I'll follow up on that.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll move items 1 through 5.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, Law Library, we'll deal with that later. Personnel Board, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 items.
I move.
Have a motion?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. And that concludes my report, I think.
Self, you have anything else?
Since you didn't want to read it.
County Attorney Laws,
Read it, since you didn't want to read it.
we're adjourned.